Hey guys, Max here. I just wanted to do a quick highlight reel of the new dev video that came out. It's about 40 minutes long, and a lot of the information that they talk about, they've already announced in the announcements in their previous dev vlog. So I just wanted to highlight what's new. So let's get started. So they showed the previously leaked or press footage for the mounts, but if you haven't seen it, here it is.
In the north part of Everfall, you will be able to ride around.
I think the mounts look really good.
Mount. It's very exciting. Very exciting.
What can I ride?
And you're going to get the horse at level 25, the wolf at level 45, and then the lion at 60. So for those who didn't know that,
a horse,
that's some pretty exciting news that when you're fresh leveling, you will get a mount pretty early on. You don't have to wait till 60, so that's good.
Of quests, and then there's alternate ways where you can accumulate riding trade skill. The higher your trade skill, the faster you can ride.
These are the races.
Also a bunch of other,
I haven't seen this kind of footage before.
Along the way as you level, we have some slots for your mount where you can equip.
This was leaked before,
for them.
Little trinkets. This is instead of armor. This is how they're accessorizing.
Customize how you want your mount to ride. Yeah. Different buffs that you get when you're dismounted. So it's light, but there's a lot of variety there for sure.
Now onto the flail. There's already leaked skill trees, and people have made videos on it, so I'm sure you've seen it. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this.
There's 2 trees.
This has already all been revealed.
All weapons,
but this weapon is meant to be a tanking and healing weapon. The left side's healing, the right side's tanking, and they said it's not so much a DPS weapon. So I think it's going to be a great alternative for sword and shield.
DPS,
the monkey. This has all been leaked, but in case you haven't seen it, here we go.
Supportive.
And I think the animators did a great. It's really neat to finally be able to play that paladin or cleric.
Okay, so this is our first look at an artifact in game. This is with some of the quests already unlocked. Normally, it starts. The art is placeholder, so I heard a lot of people complaining about that, but this isn't unique art, and they said all the artifacts are going to have unique art. So, unless I have a mistake, and the unique perk is Shrug Off. Non-crowd controlling debuffs expire 20% faster, so it's a combination of Vigor and Invigorated, and then on top of that, it has Vigor and Invigorated. So this is pretty insane. This is a very, very good piece of armor. It's nothing game breaking, but it definitely is a good chase item. And I think that's what their goal, that is what their goal is with these artifacts. They are meant to be chase items. So that's cool. Looking at, I just want to say a little tidbit. The items are really cool. The quests are, I don't know what you would expect. I don't know what they could even do. I don't have a solution, but the quests are a little bit lackluster. A little bit about mutations and the whole difficulty scaling for expeditions. The initial expedition is meant to be now a story mode expedition where it's very easy. It's kind of practice for people to learn the mechanics, which I have mixed feelings about, but I think overall it could be a good thing if they release harder expeditions. They were saying that a lot of people felt like the expeditions were hard. I didn't have that personally. I thought a need was a little bit tougher, but it was more like you have to learn the mechanics while you're doing it, and it was very doable, even with random parties. But I think the positive side of them making expeditions have an easier mode initially, outside from mutations, is that maybe it'll let them do harder and more complex mechanics because there'll be an easy way for players to practice them without feeling too unfair.
The way the rewards work, there was a lot of incentives to do M10s. We've really adjusted that. So like, as long as you're doing mutations, you're going to get good rewards. It's you'll get them at a slightly quicker pace at M3, but it isn't a huge deal.
Okay, so yeah, they try to balance the loot more, but from what I saw on the announcement previously, I don't know if this has changed, you're only able to get gear score 700 in the hardest mutations, and it wasn't possible to get them in the easier ones. So maybe this has changed. If it hasn't, then everyone just is going to do the hardest ones, Once again, the zone rework, there's some new footage here, but a lot of this was leaked. I'm going to let it play out in case you haven't seen it previously.
Completely taken over by...
This area looks sick. I love that.
It's the invasive, and it's sort of the expression of her power and her anger. And it sort of has an alien kind of vibe, but still within the New World kind of look and feel. It's grown over and taken over, and as you progress through, you'll also encounter the Beast Lords, which is another
monkey
important factor.
Suddenly you're in Adiana's garden, and you're the invader.
More footage. There's flying enemies.
And there's so
never seen before. There's never been flying enemies.
Threats and hazards.
I think they're enemies. Not sure.
Meeting the Beast Lords is another
Beast Lords look
really
sick.
Cool
I like
portion
them.
of the story. Legacy stories from First Light and integrating it into the
expectation of seeing any
classic
part
shit.
of First Light is totally.
I personally honestly don't remember that much about First Light. It was one of the zones I spent the most time on because that's what was my starting zone, but it did feel like a dead zone, so I understand why they got rid of it. But it is cool seeing like the ship from town get transformed and a lot of these like structures get transformed. That is pretty cool, especially the bridge. There's a lot of PvP that happened on that bridge, at least for me. Pretty iconic.
It's
This looks beautiful,
so
bro.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But things get so much more terrifying when you find yourself surrounded
A lot of
by
really cool
armored
enemy types.
dragons and mammoths and all these crazy new creatures. It feels so primordial.
There's gameplay of the mammoth attacking, and it has some awesome attacks, I will say.
And it's so heart pounding when
This
you've
thing
got
looks
these
freaky.
big
I don't know what the
beastly
heck that is.
creatures all over you. So you get to fight all these new creatures. We got the Heartrune family
Heartrune family.
introduced for some new narrative, and we're just getting started with all of them.
When it's not just the beasts and creatures.
I think that's something New World has struggled a lot with, even in Brimstone. I felt like there was a lack of enemy types, especially when the game first released. But they've been improving that, and this zone seems amazing for like such a small zone. There's so many different enemy types.
Right, I mean,
it's
like,
pretty cool.
You run into the woods
Like-
to hide, and then a mushroom might attack you, or like other things are alive that like holy cow,
This looks like
there's
Oh.
nowhere safe here.
And don't
it's more than just having a bunch of enemy types because they did copy paste a bunch of monsters, but they didn't feel unique. Every monster here, every attack I've seen has felt very unique. And they have their own animations. You know, it's not just like recolored and resized enemies. I think it's very cool. It's like a good
forget.
thing.
We've got, if you liked squishing the scorpions in Brimstone, you're gonna love that with the beetles that we've got in the Elysian.
So the elite chest runs are going to be where the nodes are, and there's two of them. There's one in the north, and there's one in the south, and they show gameplay of both. So I'll let them do the speaking.
I do want to talk about those beetles though. They also glow, and they're as well. And at night, the entire zone becomes this bioluminescent wonderland as well.
I think that's so cool. I really hope they do more stuff with lights because I think the game looks really pretty at night in certain zones. I know Night 10 doesn't come like in Brimstone. The only mob spawn at night, but I love like the towns that light up at night. I think it's really nice.
Which I really two major ones.
Two major
and then
ones.
Two sort of elite overlords that we introduced in Brimstone.
Okay.
The two big ones are very beast themed. This is where you'll meet some of the new creatures, and you will have access to new resources.
Yeah, that's a big one. The new resources are in elite chest run areas. That's kind of weird. There's like, do you need a group? Are you going to be stealing the resources while doing elite chest runs? I really hope they spice up elite chest runs and don't rely on them too much, because that if you do the gameplay from like more than a week, it starts feeling tedious, even if all the chums running around together. So I hope they like spice it up a little bit. And the nodes might be cool. It sounds a little bit frustrating if you can't solo farm them, but we'll see.
Now apes in First Light.
Monkey.
And one of the things you can
Wait,
now
what's
find.
First Light?
Oh, sorry, Elysian Wilds.
Okay.
I bet.
Now you can, because of those, now you can we added bananas to a lot of the trees in the game. So now that's a new resource. There's lots of new stuff to gather as well. There's one ECR up in the north of Elysian Wilds called the Isle of Zervan. And this is just like a large open area designed for mounts in a way. You climb up this great, like...
So this is what I was talking about, because First Light is a small zone, and they're doing mounts, so there has to be like ways to travel. So they're doing a lot of horizontal content is what I'm assuming. We already saw it at the big tree where you're climbing up. So that's good.
And
I like it.
as a group. There's multiple.
I personally find the parkour very fun. I was watching my friend level to 60, and he absolutely hated it. So
Multiple puzzles.
definitely
to get
some
through
mixed-
and advance to the top.
Mixed
there's
feelings.
Magical bridges that appear once you commune
This
with
is
the
all
beast
cool.
lords and
this
receive
area,
your
just look at this area. This area looks so sick. It doesn't even look like New World. It looks like Ark Survival or something, you know?
Our travel across together. There's a lot of cool surprises on them, and there's two giant, lions at the very top that can leap and go around the arena there. It's really cool, and the
That's
view
really
from
cool.
the top is. There's another
Okay.
one in the south called Tribunal High Mountain, and that's another beast-themed ECR, and that one is cool because you see a lot more variety of creatures that we don't have on the other. So you'll see lizards, giant lizards. You'll see chameleons that can go invisible. And if they die while they're invisible, you still have to find their body to skin them, which I think is a cool feature.
I don't know why. I don't know why you think that's savage. But that's cool. It's funny.
There's a new kind of game-ish mode as well in the Elysian Wilds. You want to talk about Secret of the Spores?
I'm just going to summarize this. There's a new game mode. You collect these spores. You have to talk to people to unlock them, and it lets you make potions that help you like level through this area and kill mobs. It's like this little mini game to get a better and better potion.
Of putting things in the bottle, multiple tiers, they're going to help you survive the Elysian Wilds, do more damage, get more loot, things like that.
A little bit weird.
It's a unique element.
You might have noticed in the gameplay, there's a new debuff called Spore Drenched, and currently this makes you take 25% more damage from everything. But that's interesting. I'm happy it's not another tick debuff, because oh my god, I hate the tick ones. They're actually the acid burn is so hideous, and so is the blight. Oh my, I hate being blighted so much.
Being spore drenched also make like the critters, the things that normally wouldn't aggro you, like attack you.
That's a different mushroom. There's a lot in this zone. That's
Mushrooms.
the rage miasma, and that is a environmental hazard that will turn any nearby beasts, give them more damage, and make them attack you.
That's interesting. Now the expedition.
Rosie, what's the Savage Divide?
Is case
Some
really
new
it's the
gameplay for it.
culmination of
Why does that
the
door have a- you can
invasive
slip under there.
growth. It's a real showcase for all of our amazing beasts and beast lords.
Like a zoo.
And we kind of thought about it like thinking about the San Diego Zoo. There's exhibits for all the different creatures, but they're kind of
Monkey. Some new mechanics during the fight. That's interesting. This looks really cool though. I'm liking the monkeys.
mixed together. So we took that kind of approach so that all of the areas within the Savage Divide would
this area just
feel
looks very
different
nice,
from
I will
each
say.
other. Players don't get lost,
Yeah.
and it's all unique and interesting, and supports those beast lords and the elemental beast lords
puzzle?
as well.
Can't tell
That
what
is
that
so
is.
cool, Rosie.
I will say, they said this expedition is going to be one of the hardest ones they've released yet, and I'm looking forward to it. I find the expeditions to be very fun. Every time a new one comes out, it feels better than the previous. So
Wild.
some
and
mammoth
taking
gameplay.
down A big old mammoth.
Look at these
He's
attacks, man.
stomping
Look at it.
around.
Bear stomp.
He's swinging at you, and you just
But
bring him
bang. That looks sick.
down. I'm really excited.
I love all these new enemy archetypes and their attacks. They actually look so nice.
For everybody to get out there and hunt mammoths. Let's all go mammoth
Savage.
hunting together.
In this-
You've got exploding sprouts. You've got the chameleons going invisible on you. You've got armored dragons. You've got the Hersines. You've got corvids flying up into the air and
so-
raining feathers down on you.
Clarify what corvids are. They show some gameplay. It's like the
That's
crows.
one of the
They look
corvid
real
family.
freaky.
But our crows are a combination of humans and animals that have died somewhere close to each other and resurrected in a combination.
That seems to be a lot of the lore, the Angry Earth things. It's what happened to the humans. They combined with the animals in the area.
That's
So
our Hersine family. You've
cool.
got the birds, you've got boars, you've got reindeer. All of these creatures that have come out from everything that's just gone crazy and wild with the Elysian Wilds.
You even have the rats,
I don't know how to spell that.
right?
We've got
and
the
then
rats.
and then you've got the bunnies with the bunny surprise, is what I call them.
looking forward to whatever that is.
I think what you have to
Beak.
realize with our Savage Divide is with everything that we've been doing, we've got everything is much more magical. The bosses are bigger and badder than ever, probably our hardest expedition bosses
There we
yet.
go.
And they're throwing out all sorts of magic spells. It's going to be really fun.
I'd be happy to. Yeah, so this Heartrune is one
Looks
of our
sick.
most ambitious Heartrunes to date, because it's not just a
This
single
looks
attack
sick.
like our other Heartrunes, but it actually puts you in this
It
other state.
roars?
So you're in this
And it roars back, man.
beast-like state where you become larger and
This Heartrune looks insane. I love it. I think
your
I really want the
light
Heartrunes to
attacks
be like
change to,
insane stuff. I
these
think it's
melee
fun.
Swipes. And your heavy attack is this leaping strike that jumps on your opponent and knocks them down.
This looks insane. Imagine 1v1ing someone in perma grit from auto attacks.
And then the variants for it are also kind of interesting. So like the brutal variant, you will do more damage,
They do
but
against
at the
this.
cost of taking more damage. And actually, as you damage your opponent, it will extend the duration, so you can get more
You damage your opponent, it'll extend it. That sounds
more
nuts.
of your large form. And then the stalwart version is kind of the inverse. So you'll
Take
you'll
less
deal
damage.
less damage, but you'll also take less damage, and you actually extend the duration by taking damage.
They both sound so fun in PvP. I can't wait to try these out.
this whole other realm of like I don't want to call them bugs because actually they're more like features. Like they're interesting.
But the big news is that Edengrove, right beside Morningdale, is going to be now a capturable territory. That's one. Number two is it's going to be a settlement, and there's going to be a bunch of cool housing in it. I'm going to let her describe it.
Yeah, we've got the all-new architecture set. It's inspired by more of a northern European look. There's like these huts, yurts, very large interiors to go into, and with a beautiful view.
Edengrove is also now going to be the crown jewel for any company that owns it because it will be worth the most.
Yeah, that's important
in terms of income.
Yep.
That's kind of a big deal.
That is kind of a big deal.
That.
Little arena somewhere in Eden. A lot of people they get farmed for certain things.
Yep. So we move the
put
bosses
them in their own little arena somewhere in Edengrove, which you can look for.
Tell them let them find them.
Oh, it's just southeast of Malevolence.
Hey Scott, I don't care what you say. I'm just going to do it anyway.
It's somewhere in there. I can't give you an exact coordinate, but I can picture it.
Interesting.
No, it's close to Zagoramet's Grove, which is the trial.
It's awesome.
It's a trial, okay.
And like we're joking a lot, but it's really interesting to try. Like we have this beautiful content of Malevolence, and a lot of people ECR it, but some people like to play more solo. And I think you guys did a great job of just making it.
They left some elite chest runs up there if you want to parkour and get them.
But we took the bosses and converted it into a soloable experience. We left a few elite chests around there for the climbers in the player base.
That guy's reaction is the climbers in the player base. This guy's having a chuckle.
And some of the more jumping puzzle-like areas.
He's trying to hold it in. I don't know. They must have did something horrendous there. These jumping puzzles are gonna be. I'm a little bit scared how this guy's
but we
chuckling.
Took the bosses. And,
oh, that's cool.
That or do we lessen?
Now, most importantly for PvP and wars, influence races. There's gonna be daily. There's gonna be 3 locations that are gonna have influence races. And the weirdest part that they said is that regardless, as long as someone has the most points in an influence race, a war will happen. So win or lose, it seems like there's a war. I have no idea how this is gonna play out. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there's gonna be a lot less warloggers and a lot more casuals that actually get to try and war. Because that's what this game needs, and they've been trying to tackle that problem for a while. So there's going to be towers you have to capture. A bunch of PvP missions have been brought closer to the tower, easier to do, and hopefully more open world PvP. So I'm looking forward to that.
I am so excited for Influence V2. Schedule.
One quick announcement: the PTR is coming soon.
Big announcement. They also announced the PTR is not going to be long. It's not going to be 4 weeks. Not going to be 3 weeks. We don't know how long. Maybe a day. Maybe a week. So make sure you already have the PTR installed and are ready. It's coming soon, and right after the PTR, they're going to do another Q&A. So
how specific is that?
Soon? I don't know what soon is, but
but it's getting there. As soon as it's ready, we'll put it up.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the PTR. Hopefully, I'll see you guys on it. Make sure we test this game. Get all the bugs out there. That's the biggest thing I'm afraid of. Are all these features they're going to add to the game? They have had a really bad history of bugs, and we don't need that, right? So I'm going to make sure to do my part, try and test it, try and give them feedback, and that's all we can do as a player base, right? So I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. If you have any advice or suggestions, I would really gladly take them, so comment down below. And hopefully I'll see you at the PTR if you're NA East. Hey, laters. Peace.